What's going on, guys? I'm Billy.
All right, what's happening? This is Pete Reilly, and this is
The Modern Man's Podcast. So we were having a conversation about instant gratification, and it makes me wonder, and I see this with my kids, right? So all my kids have iPads. Initially, that started as like a learning thing. They were on Leapfrog or ABC Kids or Hooked on Phonics to help them read. Now they're watching YouTube Kids, and all you gotta do is swipe, right? So you don't like what you see, you got a couple seconds of attention span. What are we teaching our kids? And as a parent, am I dropping the ball by letting them have that instant gratification? Like, where do we make them earn, or where do we make them focus? When I was a kid, I had to watch a whole episode and commercials to get to the next thing if I didn't like what I was watching.
Yeah, we're really not dropping the ball, but the fact that we're addressing these things and understanding what's happening, I think is half the battle. Because I'm going through that myself with my older guy, and also with the babies right now, between, the YouTube videos and gimme, gimme, gimme. My 2-year-old, or a 3-year-old now, is in a situation where he always wants to go to the store to get toys. Like, is that on me that I've been giving to him so often for so long that now it's just expected? Do I stop giving to him, listen to him just freaking out on me? Like, where's the balance? I'm not sure, dude. We don't have the playbook to be a dad. We're trying our best. We're plugging and playing, but to be able to talk to each other about these relatable.
So you said it, there's no playbook, right? So
Right.
We're all just trying not to mess our kids up.
Yeah.
And trying not to mess ourselves up in the process. So like, there's only so much screaming you want to hear before you give in. So I know, like, for me, and you've seen my kids a lot, you see them in an environment where they have to listen and be focused. My son doesn't really have focus, and I'm trying to teach him that. But he bounces around just like on the iPad. It's like a ping pong ball, back and forth, back and forth. And you see it in the wrestling room, and I see it on a football field where I coach him, and he needs that constant redirect. We got to focus. We got to focus. So, like, I'm making that conscious effort, not that I want to hear them scream and cry or, not get their way, but I'm trying to extend my ability to listen to it and make them earn it.
Yeah, good call. Great call. I've been going through exactly what you're talking about for a while. And as of late, I've been telling myself, you know what? I took my oldest son, Mason, to Target every single Friday and bought him a WWE guy. Now, for us, it was cool. I would pick him up from school every Friday. We would go to Target and get him a guy every Friday. We both had a blast with that. But at what point does this kid just think anything he wants is just going to be that attainable? Like we spoke about last time, the Amazon world, you click, put it in the cart, and it's at your house the very next morning. It's our job to acknowledge these things and put our foot down. I think that there's something to be said about maybe you can get this if you do, X, Y, Z. So you have to actually earn these items now. I don't think it's too late to put my foot down and start earning some of these things, but I think it can get too late.
It 100%
And
can.
at what point is it too late and now you have some entitled teenager who's just a punk and thinks the whole world is just going to be given to him, and then he's just going to be crushed by the time he's in his early 20s when he realizes that that's not the case.
So Max will always ask for something, my oldest son, or my daughter Rosalie, my middle daughter, and it's always, I have money, I could buy it. But you have money in a piggy bank. You don't grasp what it costs. So like last night, Max is on Roblox, and it's cute. He'll FaceTime his friends, and they'll go into a Roblox room. I don't really understand it. Maybe he shouldn't be doing it at 6, but I'm comfortable with it. He wants to buy a snowplow on the Roblox thing. I said, go ahead. And then I looked, and you actually have to buy it. Like, I have to put my iTunes information in, and it costs X to buy Roblox dollars or however it works. So I told him, tonight we have a football game against Wall. That's flag football. It's not serious. But I take it kind of serious, and I told him, you're going to go on the football field, you're going to earn it, you're going to work hard. We don't have to win, but we're going to try, and you're going to show me you want it. Dad'll come home, we'll buy it. So I'm working on that reboot and that reset like you're talking about, and I'm hoping, I know it's not too late. He's 6.
Yeah.
Mace is young. All our kids are young. Just because something was acceptable doesn't mean that we have to accept that forever, right? So no matter what it is, whether it's culture at work or whatever, put your foot down, modify the behavior. You got to be the change you want.
For sure.
I'm trying to instill that in them now. Like, we got to earn stuff. We got to do stuff. If you want it, you got to give to me.
sure.
Whatever, however it goes, there's got to be that balance.
Yeah, we were in that really giving nature when it came to sugar for a while, right? So we were pretty much just saying yes to all this sugar. And I mean, the sugar's everywhere. And like these little kids love the sugar, which was all well and good until we went to the dentist. And once we went to the dentist, we had to hear some hard truth as parents. He had to hear some hard truths from us. And aside from the teeth, the sugar had like an adverse on his stomach where like he would have like, I don't know whether it was like these nasty Sour Patch Kids and like mixed with other things. What are those like hot fries that they have now? Takis. You know, they see that stuff on TikTok and on YouTube and everything. So he was like throwing up from these things, but he still wanted like a slush. He wanted all this stuff. So finally now Mason doesn't have nearly as much sugar anymore because now he knows like, okay, you might throw up. You might get cavities. You might have to go back to the dentist again. So we were in that situation where we were, yeah, sure. Have a sugar. Just be quiet.
Yeah.
Is that what you want to stop crying? Then sure. Here, take the sugar. And then, but you have to kind of pull that leash back a little bit. So I've been in that pull the leash back a little bit for a while with him. And now I'm like, okay, now I have 2 more young ones coming up. So I have to learn through trial and error from my oldest guy. I have to learn that, okay, yeah, sugar's all well and good every now and again, but if we don't monitor this thing, it's going to get bad for his teeth. It's going to get bad for his belly. So now I need to tread lightly on what I say yes to. But if he modifies his sugar intake, now it's a trickle down on his little brother and sister. Now they could see, okay, it's not just a green light for sugar. Maybe we have ice cream once a week now. And maybe you kind of have to earn that ice cream.
Do you think you could follow that anti-sugar or limited sugar playbook with the younger ones? Because it's so much harder to get them out of a funk than it would be for Mason.
Yeah.
Like me with Max, it's easier for him to understand than Rosalie or my youngest Josephine.
Yeah.
So like I could communicate with Max and you could communicate with Mace and maybe they'll understand it.
Right.
I know Josephine is not understanding it. She's 2.
Yeah, exactly.
What's there to understand? And it makes it hard.
Right.
So will I be a victim of that? You know, when Josephine wants something off Roblox or whatever, am I just going to say, okay, when that time comes, just because she doesn't grasp the concept?
I hear you, man. Well, I mean, Rowan's only 2 years old. She's been playing with WWE guys her whole life, so everything's just been hand-me-down. Now she's got girl stuff, and she's got JJ. What's the name of that show that JJ's
Coco
in?
Melon.
Coco Melon, yeah. So she's
We
got
love
that.
JJ in
She
my
got her
house.
little princess costume. So she's into the more girly stuff now. But my point was, everything has been hand-me-downs, and she's loved it. So if our oldest guy is now leading by example, and he's a great natural leader, if he doesn't have it and he's not talking about it, then it's not going to be on her radar. So maybe I can use my oldest son as the example. And he could show them the way that, okay, number one, you're not just going to get every single thing you asked for like you once did around here. And number two, maybe the sugar is going to be a little bit more modified and we won't have these crazy dentist appointments that we've been dealing with over the course of the last 2 months, I think.
Well, I think
and there's been
Mace-
like 2 extracted teeth, by the way, so.
So he's been in it.
He's been in it.
So he should understand it. I mean, Mace's the kind of kid, I've seen it. He can lead by example. He could set the tone for, you know, to be your mouthpiece kind of with the kids. You know, he can be that natural leader,
Right.
like you said. So he's going to set the example that you set for him. You don't really have to worry maybe as much
Maybe
as
not.
I do with that translating from Max to my girls. You have that segue, and maybe by the time Max is Mace's age, maybe Max will be a better leader in the house.
Right.
But he sets the tone. It's just
does.
getting him to understand the tone I need from
know.
him. You know, and you've been there, bro. I'm following your playbook, and you don't realize.
Don't
it.
follow
You're-
mine, bro. I'm hitting audibles at the line every
Yeah, but
single
that's
day.
what it's
hot
about.
Hot route.
That's
I don't
what it's
know
about.
the playbook, bro.
Listen, the biggest thing you could say about Peyton Manning is Omaha. He was
Yeah.
doing it all the time. You
I'm
know?
yelling Omaha every day, bro.
That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
So if we can't adapt to what we're clearly seeing our kids need,
That's it.
even on the fly, whether it's on a football field or in our house or in a wrestling room,
Yeah.
what good are we really doing? And, you know, sometimes I'll question if I'm spread too thin, which I probably am, but I think I'm still a very attentive father. I pick up on my kids' needs as best I can. I do spoil them to get them to be quiet, just like you said. The ice cream man comes through my development at 8:30 at night. The kids hear it. If they're awake on a weekend, they're screaming they want ice cream.
I know.
I'm buying ice cream. I'm a sucker for my kids.
For sure. For sure. Yeah, the ice cream man hit us up last week. We were all thrilled to be out there. This woman rolled up in this decked out ice cream truck, and we were all just so juiced up, myself included. I didn't grab an ice pop, but I was vibing off of their energy.
Yeah.
Now, it didn't even cross my mind to say we're not having this. It was just a matter of what items are we getting? We knew she was outside the house. And we were so juiced up, and I could see the lady watching us, and she's smiling at us. Then we're talking to her, and she's like, "Oh my God, look at you guys! This is so awesome." I'm like, "Yeah, thank you for coming. It's a rainy day. We're inside going crazy in here. You gave us something to look forward to."
So we're lucky. We have three different trucks that come in my neighborhood randomly, sometimes at the same time. And my favorite is the Kona Ice Truck. Okay. She is above and beyond super sweet to my kids.
Nice.
So friendly, but my kids love it. So it's kind of like a family thing without having to leave the house.
Right.
Rosie gets so excited. As soon as she hears it, she's running to put her shoes on. She wants to walk outside, hold daddy's hand, get ice cream. We walk back up the driveway holding hands.
Yeah.
For me, it's not about the ice cream. You could replace the ice cream truck with whatever it is. For me, it's that sentimental time that I know I'm going to miss in 10 years.
Yeah.
When I'm not the cool dad anymore that they want to hold hands with in public.
Dude, that's a great point.
So selfishly, I'm spoiling them.
Dude, I have been harnessing those moments more and more and more. Having a son now in 3rd grade and looking at these little faces and just going, dang, you're going to be in 3rd grade in no time. And now I'm thinking, okay, from 3rd grade to middle school is pretty close. When you're in middle school, you're looking for chicks, you have friends, your parents are probably maybe number 5 on your list. And right now, dad's still in the number 1, number 2 spot between me and mom, I'm cherishing that. And that song keeps popping up in my mind. It won't be like this for long. Dude, that song will make you cry. And I put that song on and I'm just you know what? It won't. And but we're talking about following their energy amongst the kids. The babies are in daycare, okay? So I bring them to the daycare, and it's been better, okay? We'll say better. But this morning, for example, the middle guy, Carter, all he kept saying is, "I don't want to go to school." Now, Rowan was cool. I put her outfit on. She's looking all cute. We thought it was picture day, so she had this nice outfit on. Everything was all good. And I just don't acknowledge school when he brings it up. He's just where we're going. He's asking me all these questions. And I'm just are we there yet? Are we there yet? But my point is, once he started saying in the car, "I don't want to go to school," guess what she started doing? Screaming, "I don't want to go to school."
Yeah.
He was fine. By the time we got to the door, he had his backpack on. He walked in. Everything was all good. Rowan was still losing her mind. If that little guy didn't say nothing about school, she would have walked right in like she owned the place like she normally does. But they trickle off of each other's energy. So you can set the tone with Max for how you want them, even just to keep him yo, dude, don't even bring that up. And that's the stuff I'll do with Mason. I'm don't bring up ice cream. Don't bring up this. We're not even talking about that topic because we know where this is going. And he gives me a look and I'm okay. I'm dude, we'll talk about that later. Yes, we can get it. Don't bring it up to your brother and sister.
So Max had a birthday party Saturday. And I knew I was coming home. I was going to stay with the girls. Mary wanted to go to the birthday party. Cool. Mary gave him a pep talk. We're not going to a party. We're going to the doctor. So Max kept telling his sisters, you got to go to the doctor. Because when one of them leaves to go to a party, everybody thinks they're going to a party. So Max worked with us on that. And it was really appreciative. And he did a great job. And he got out of the house. The girls were calm, mellow, good to go. But I should give him more credit. Now, hearing you say it makes me realize maybe I'm overlooking some stuff he does. So Rosie's first day, she got into the public preschool at Land of Pines. Max goes to LOP. They're on different buses, unfortunately.
But same school.
Same school, different buses. The preschool gets all preschool kids on the bus.
Right.
So we go to the bus. Max's bus comes first. He gets on the bus. She thought she was getting on the bus with Max, even though we told her she wasn't. Right. She was pumped. She was ready to go. He's I'm pumping her up for the first day of school. Everything's going to be good. I'll make sure you're all right, blah, blah, blah. Max leaves. Here comes her bus. She lost it. Lost it on the bus. And I made a decision as a dad. I got her on the bus. I gave her a big hug. I pulled her arms off me while she's crying. It broke my heart. I turned around and walked away. My wife, Mary, is hanging in the bus door trying to calm her still. I said, Mary, we got to walk away. Let them get her in the seat.
Let that
She'll
door
be
close
fine.
and run back. Yeah.
We got in the car. We went back to the house. I went to work. My wife, God bless her soul, got in the car and followed the school bus to the rest of the pickups and then to the school. She parked on the side to make sure Rosalie got off the bus and was not crying. Rosie got off the bus, calm, cool, and collected, walked right inside.
Yeah, we're seeing that. We're seeing that with the daycare. They have an app and they send us pictures.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. So the kids will be really, really losing it at drop off. And it like totally breaks my heart. It takes me about an hour to like settle back down from that, unfortunately. I'm doing a better job at it. Today was only maybe about 10, 15 minutes because now it's on my radar. Yeah. And I'm like, don't get broken by a 2 and 3 year old. Like, dude, you got big stuff heading on.
And they're going to react.
Yeah.
Certain ways no matter what. It could be, you took a receipt tape from them, they're going to freak out.
I know. But that app is such a blessing because it takes me a while to bounce back. But for them, dude, I'm getting updates like 45 seconds later. They're thrilled.
Yeah.
Having a blast, smiling.
But that probably puts you at peace at that point.
It does. It definitely does.
Now you're seeing that update and they're good. So there's no reason for you not to be good.
Yeah.
Biggest struggle in my life for me is thinking or anticipating my kids not to be all right. Whether it's them being hurt, upset, sad, I want to fix everything for them. I just want them happy.
Yeah.
So if I know they're crying or they're sad or somebody hurt their feelings, mentally, I want to go fight another 5-year-old or 6-year-old if they hurt my son's feelings. Obviously, I know that's not the case, but I thrive, I should say, on their happiness. Probably to my downfall, to their downfall at some point.
Well,
because I'm going above and beyond.
That's what I was going to say. I've been making a conscious effort to let them figure stuff out without daddy. And it's a little bit difficult, but it's more like the long-term play. Like, no, dude, you know how to put your shoes on. Like, Carter's pretty good with that stuff. Like, no, dude, like, you know how to put your shirt on. I'm not helping you with that. Like, I'm trying not to give to a fault anymore because I know how badass real life is. We were talking about it last week. Real life is tough as nails, bro. And if we think that we can have them in bubble wrap and everything's going to be all okay because mommy and daddy are going to help you out, that ship sails, bro.
Mommy and daddy ain't always going to be there.
And that's it. It's going to be just them, and they're going to have to figure it out. And they're going to be way more prepared for life if we make sure that we're not giving to a fault, not coddling, not overly helping. Figure it out, dude. Yeah, it breaks my heart a little bit, but it's going to break my heart a lot more if you turn out to be a jerk when you get older.
100%.
So if I got to leave you here in your own tears because you're trying to tie your own damn shoes, well, hey, figure it out, bro. It hurts in the moment, but it's better now than it is down the road, dude. There's another side to all this giving.
Yeah.
And all this loving. I've been a super, super loving dad. I'm a super compassionate guy. And now these little faces are little mini-me's. Dude, I want to hug and kiss them every single day. And I do, but I'm making a conscious effort to be like, okay, yeah, you guys know I love you and I got your back, but I need to prepare you guys for what real life is. I had to face real life on my own. I'm still going through it on my own.
So it's funny you bring up the shoes. And I see things now a little different. So I'm adjusting to life with Josephine reaching certain milestones, and now she's talking more, and obviously she wants to do everything. But Rosie, my middle child, is now, I don't want to say regressing, but she knows that if she does certain things that she's going to need more attention. So like she could put her shoes on. Now she's putting her shoes on the wrong feet.
Purposely.
I believe, and I had this conversation with my wife, that it's on purpose because she sees us helping Josephine put her shoes on. Yeah. So if she's getting that help and now Rosie's missing that experience or doesn't feel that attention, she's doing it now, where she started having a couple accidents here and there because she thought maybe in her mind, she would get more attention if she went backwards.
I can see that.
And I've kind of made an effort to connect a little more with her. Me and Max get a ton of time together. He comes to work all the time. He loves tow trucks.
Yeah.
He loves being in the shop. We're at football. We're at wrestling, which Rosie now comes to, so we could share that time together. But we'll cuddle, and just me and her will sit on the couch and watch a movie, or Max will be in the basement. Josephine will be taking a nap. I'll take Rosie for a walk, whatever it is. But I think some of it, we have to be conscious that, especially having 3 kids, it's different.
You're right.
One of them's always going to feel overlooked.
Yeah.
Whether it's by us or by their siblings. So you got 3. Maybe Mason, Rowan are doing something, and Carter's left out, or maybe Max and Rosie are doing something, and Joey's left out,
I know.
or vice versa.
I know.
So sometimes I've noticed that that's on me, and it's all balance, right? So I gotta find that balance in dealing with my kids. And I'm
For sure.
trying to figure it out.
For sure. I remember back when my wife Abby was pregnant with our daughter Rowan, who is our 3rd, and I was thinking like, where's my role going to be? Like, where's my lane going to be? So when she was born, I was doing what I was calling herding the cattle. I was keeping Carter and Mason. We were doing our thing. And Rowan, before they could start walking and crawling around and stuff, she was with mama. And then like a few weeks went by, and I'm like, dang, like this new baby is home. I've been giving these boys all this attention, and I had to like go get that time, because I thought back at that time when we had just one, that's all that you need to give your love to. Mason wasn't breastfeeding. He was on the bottle. So that was like a forced in time for me, where we got mad time like right away. And then, now do we give 33% of our time evenly throughout? You know who's been on the back burner lately? Take one guess.
I'm going to guess your wife.
No, I'm talking the 3 kids.
Oh.
But
I'm going with Mace.
Abby's on, yeah, Mace.
Yeah, I could see that, because the younger kids need more.
Yeah, dude. So he's upstairs playing Xbox, and he'll be like yelling down at me like, hey, Dad. He'll scream like a few times. And I'm so caught up with what they're doing, and things are going crazy down there, that like 2 minutes later, I'm like, yo, Mace, what were you asking me? And he's like, oh, I want to tell you about this, that. And so I'll like go run upstairs, talk to him for a second. Then the kids come following me. But there's always going to be that balance, but just make that conscious effort to make sure that no one's being left on the back burner there. But again, the back burner's still cooking. So we need to still, like, it's never going to be perfect. That playbook we were talking about, throw it out the window. It's never going to be perfect. Keep it on your radar. But a little kid being alone for a little while is not going to be a bad thing for them. A little kid by themselves is actually good. Yeah. They need to figure things out on their own without having somebody coddling over them.
So I realized that a little bit with Max. He's older. He'll go outside and he'll ride bikes with the neighborhood kids. Now he's outside. He doesn't want to be with me. Right. He wants to be outside with Lexi and Lily and Giovanni and this one. And, Dad, I don't have time for you. That's cool. I'll take my time with my girls, go play with your friends, whatever. But now I do realize there's times he's in the house and he'll be in the basement or whatever, and I'm hanging out upstairs with the girls, and now he wants my attention, which I'm not mad about, but I'm committed to the girls. But you don't
really have that window for him in that moment.
And at that exact moment. Yeah. And, he's only 6. So he doesn't get that, and maybe Mace grasps it a little better. He's older and a little more mature.
Yeah.
But for Max, it's like, him and Rosie have started saying, you don't love me. No, I do. I love all of you the same. Every one of you is my favorite.
Bro, that would break my heart, by the way.
They say it, and I'll look at them, and I'll be like, you don't mean that. And because I talk to my kids like I would talk to you. We never did baby talk. I try not to baby them. Unfortunately, I'm very passionate, and I do use foul language in front of my kids at times. I try not to, but I feel that sometimes that comes across or brings my message a little stronger.
Right.
And I don't curse at my kids.
Right.
Not what I'm saying, but they've heard me in conversation with friends or whatever speak like that.
Yeah.
And it's just passion, but I don't even know why I was saying that. I lost my train of thought. But regardless, it comes back to he doesn't get that if I'm reading a book with Rosie, you can come sit next to me and we could all read together.
But as I'm reading, you can't say dad, dad, dad.
Correct.
You know?
We're
Yeah.
sharing time, and it's
Yeah.
really hard to understand that,
It is.
especially like, Max was 2.5 turning 3 when Rosie was born. Me and him were always together, especially Rosie was really sick. Me and her didn't connect when she was a baby. I couldn't even touch her until she was a little over a year. She wouldn't
Yeah.
let me hold her, nothing.
Oh,
She would
that's
freak
heartbreaking.
out. She had to be with Mare.
Oh.
So Max, it was just me and him, dude.
Yeah.
Like, that was
Throwing
my
out.
guy.
Yeah.
And me and Rosie are homies now. I'm just starting to really know Josie. She's becoming her own girl.
Yeah.
And she's talking now, and she loves her dad. But finding that balance is so hard.
I know, and it happens. It happens all the time. You were talking about cursing though. Last night I cursed a few times, and I've been watching Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, and Deion hasn't done drugs, hasn't done alcohol, had no like really good father figures. Like his real dad chose like alcohol or drugs, and the stepdad was the other one who was either alcohol or drugs. Mom was working, didn't have anybody supporting him at the games. He had to find this identity on his own. But he stopped cursing his sophomore year of college. Now, I said last night, like, I just cursed again. So, like, I'm trying to make an effort to, like, not curse.
So a very good friend of mine, Nate.
Trying.
Nate.
Yeah.
He doesn't curse at all. Now, you have a guy who has been balls deep in war, who has seen things, experienced things. He's an elite, accomplished athlete.
Yeah.
Nearly made it to the Olympics. Stud. Will not curse. He will find every word to use except a curse word.
Yeah.
And in the 3, 4, 5 years that I've gotten close with him, it's made me, especially lately, now that my kids do hear what I say and grasp that that is a bad word, I've tried to start cutting that out. And I've been very conscious of it at home more than at work or whatever. But it's surprising how much emphasis I can put on a word like that, and Deion Sanders or Nate won't even use those terms. So where am I failing as a man? How much am I lacking, especially in the sense that I was comfortable enough to let that slip in front of my kids. Now that it's going to happen, you're going to slip, but I'm trying to be the best example I can. And I'm not providing the best example I can by speaking like that or behaving like that, because that's my inner child coming out.
Right.
I want them to act like grown-ups. I got to act like a grown-up.
Yeah.
So Nate kind of made me turn that page and reflect and try to bring that back for me, that balance that I had maybe when I was a kid, where I was afraid to speak like that.
For sure. So we spent a lot talking about our kids, talking about our family, but I think there's so much more that we can kind of dive into. And you don't necessarily need to indulge everything, but we've found each other through probably our own different personal struggles. You want to share some of your life?
Yeah. So
some moments, or just really anything in particular that's kind of created the person you are today. Then I'll kind of do the same.
So growing up, it was me and my brother Michael, who you know. My father, really hard worker, came from very humble beginnings. I mentioned the last week, we had everything we needed, none of what we wanted. And I was good with that. Honestly, I didn't even really know there was another side. He built a great business. I had gone to college. I was eventually supposed to go to law school.
Dang, I didn't even know that.
I graduated from Kane, and I took a job working for a friend of mine, managing a nightclub. And I was making more money than I knew what to do with. I thought this was the end-all, be-all for me. No more law school. Me and my dad had a little bit of a falling out over it. Understandable. Fast forward, he gets sick. He got diagnosed with cancer. I went to work for him. My brother came back to work for him. My brother graduated Seton Hall. He was supposed to be a CPA. We're both with him while he's dealing with cancer. He comes out good. Fast forward a few more years, things get real scary. He has a stroke, alters him for life. Today, that was 6 years ago, he had the stroke. Me and my brother had to kind of, carve our own way without him, because we had him to lean on for all those years that we were working with him. Then we lost him completely. So now I'm navigating life business-wise with no real mentor. I'm navigating being a first-time father. Max was a year old when my dad had a stroke. So now everything that I'm looking for support from my dad on, and he was able to be there for me, is able to be there for me, just not the way he was. I kind of found in the support group that I've built with recent interactions, I've said it to you a million times, one of the most valuable additions to my adult life is my relationship with you. When I've come from a dark place, and no one might even know the struggles that I faced, just mentally seeing
Right.
my father in the position he was. I mean,
can
you took a
imagine.
guy that got up every day, broke his ass. He would outwork anybody. He went from being upright and ready to rock and roll every day to the blink of an eye, he's on the ground and never got up again. And
Plus,
that's, for me, I kind of lost. I'm not going to say I lost my father because he's still here and I love every minute with him, but I lost my mentor. He doesn't function the same cognitively. It's just different. It's a different way. And, things that I'd pick up the phone to call him for, I find myself sometimes calling you or, you know, just to bounce ideas off because I need support and I need some guidance. Everybody does, right? So if I can call you and bounce, this is what I'm going through. You've been there. Give me an idea of what I can do or business wise. Pete, I need some advice. Or I called you the other day and we were asking, I was talking to you about mortgages and finances. Just having that outlet
yeah.
is what kind of brought me to this point because I see the value in the network that I've built and being able to have support. And my struggle personally, watching my dad change and having to adapt on my own and having kids and being in business and, managing stressors has made me put my health and my life on a back burner. I had some real health issues about a year and a half ago that I got cognizant of. A lot of genetic stuff, and I kind of rebooted. It took a while to figure things out, and I'm in the gym. You come with me. You act like, as an inspiration. You're part of the reason I was comfortable enough with myself to get back to working out. You've made me step out of my comfort zone, and not just you, Nate, my buddy Tommy Russo. I've built a great network.
Right.
And if we can sit here and chat about what we go through, health wise, mental struggles, whatever it is, maybe somebody can reach out to us or to somebody that we bring on to talk. It's had such a positive impact on me dealing with what I've been through. In June, I got really sick. One of the first people to come see me when I got home was you. You walked in my backyard. I think I was home for 3 hours, and you were there. And stuff like that has shaped and changed me for the future and how I look at things. So I'm driven by money, and I have a drive to earn, but life doesn't end at money. I think there's a Rick Ross song, and he says something about how you determine success is how many people you bless, or something to
I
that
like that.
effect. And that's kind of where I'm at now, because I've been blessed, whether it's with a second chance, whether it's with a good network and a good environment. I want to be able to help people and leave my mark on you. And if I try to help you, I expect nothing in return, just like I know that you expect nothing in return from me, except friendship, honesty, and loyalty. And that's what's important to me now.
But isn't there really something to be said about how wild life is like that? Like, unfortunately, going through those really tough times where your dad in good health would have been the call. And then it kind of forced you to befriend or be a little bit more open minded to some other people. Like when we're younger and like you're in school with people, it's kind of like, okay, there's, I don't know, 3,000 kids at Frio Township High School, figure out where your friends are.
Yeah.
When we're adults, we're kind of in our own lane. And these people kind of come into our lives. Some of them are there for seasons. Some of them are there the whole way through. But there's something to be said about those people that come in there in those times of need. And I've personally, felt that myself through yourself and, so many other people. where my struggles, the most recent one was last year with the seizures and everything else. And like, dude, you and Zach were there, Trevor, my friend Ryan Robbins, like all these people like showed up for me when I was like super depressed, super anxious, like just felt like the whole world was coming down on me. But gratefully, my dad was my guy.
Yeah.
My dad was there every day. I had no driver's license for 6 months. My dad was at my house every single morning. And like, I can cry just thinking about that. And like,
I hope you cherish that though.
I do. I absolutely do. And like when my kids are older, God willing, I'm still here to do the exact same thing. And sometimes being a really good parent, you don't have to say anything. It's like your actions. Where Dion was able to really prosper in his life for what he was lacking. He had to find his own lane on the football field. He would say no one was cheering for me, so I had to become my own cheerleader. But when you have this figure in your life that is there and that is stable, you really, really, really appreciate it, and you don't know, how much longer it's going to last. But you know that, like we were saying last time, Bruce Lee says what you leave in them is more than what you leave for them, and what my dad has left in me is going to be sustainable through my kids.
Yeah, so I get that. My dad, he instilled a lot of values in me, and I want to be able to pass that on to my kids. And unfortunately, I know that genetics that I have, which I share all of my father's genetic risk factors. All the doctors telling me I'm predisposed to whatever. Men on his side of the family don't really live late into life. I'm hoping to be around for my kids into my 70s, 80s, but I don't know if that's a reality for me. So I'm trying to do it now. And, I have to be aware that I kind of lost my rock at an early age, at a formidable point in my life, and the wheels could have came off for me without proper guidance. He lived in a hospital for 6 months. He wasn't home. My mother had to take time from work. She was at the hospital every day. I woke up. I was at work at Certified at 6 every morning. I was at the hospital by 9. I'd leave at noon, go back to work, check on things, and go back to the hospital until visiting hours ended.
That's taken on a lot as one individual.
But that was my guy. That's my, that's all I knew for support was my mother and father. Yeah. Now, my mom's going through it with my dad at that point. How am I supposed to add to her shit with my shit now?
For sure.
You're watching your life partner, your husband who you adore.
Yeah.
They're going to be married 40 years. How do I add my struggle to your already struggle?
I hear you.
So now at that point, I open my eyes to people around me because I need that additional support. My brother's struggling just like me. He's losing his father at the same time, possibly.
I'm sure.
Like you said, I opened up and I was able to bring you in, and Johnny Ryan and Johnny Reilly and Zach and people that were local and accessible to me that I could connect with. And I didn't have to talk to you about what I was struggling with. I didn't have to open up. I didn't have to sit down and cry to you. But just you being there and just having that conversation was good enough for me.
I know. And that was really how we ended up on this podcast, because we were both in a pretty clouded mental state with life, kind of a tidal wave of life around us that I don't know really exactly how you felt, but you kind of feel like you're on this raft in the water and the water just keeps building up and you just keep kind of floating away, and another day goes by and now you're down to one paddle or you're using your hands, and before you know it, you see this other boat with some other people on it, and they're kind of, going through the same tide you are, and now you kind of link those boats up together.
You get a little more stable.
And now you're weathering the storm together on a stable boat that consists of maybe 8 to 10 rafts, opposed to just your dinky ass raft that, you would have been out there by yourself screaming for help and nobody could hear you. Yeah. But the help is definitely around us. I think being vulnerable, my wife has been talking to me about some things that go on at the middle school. And it's just crazy how the mental state that kids are in now compared to what we were. You know, and I was kind of telling her, like, this is unfortunately the new norm. Like, this world that teenagers grew up in, it looked a lot different than the world that we did. And unfortunately, what comes with that is, like, you know, cyberbullying.
Yeah.
You know, super insecure, telephone tough guy. You could talk smack to anybody. You know, where we used to have to meet the kid at the park that was talking smack, and, you know, you guys get into a fight and you move on with your life. Like, nah, dude, those days are over. And, like, these kids are on those islands by themselves. And if they're not a part of any sports, they don't have any type of, extracurricular activities. You know, now you kind of add in some personal struggles in the mix. And, like, I feel for those kids, man. Like, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, but you've taken the bull by the horns, and at an early age, you're teaching kids that are around you. I have to bring it back to wrestling because that's where you generally interact with my kid, and that's where I've heard you say it. Wrestlers are built different. Sit next to the kid that's eating lunch alone. If you see somebody getting bullied, stand up for them. Make an impact. Don't be the guy that eggs that on. Make a difference in someone's life. And we could teach these kids at an early age to do that. We're winning. You know, my kid's not going to be the smartest. He's not going to be the best athlete. My girl's the same. But I can teach them to be the nicest and best version of them. And that's going to include being the Pete Reilly to my Bill Stahnten that they can be for someone else. You know, be that outlet. Be that hand up. Don't let anybody feel uncomfortable, awkward, or alone, because today that's what it is. You know, and I don't ever want my son to be comfortable enough to sit somewhere and let somebody next to him get bullied. 100%. I don't want my daughters to do that either.
100%.
You know, and you're talking about people on a computer, cyberbullying. There's no emotion. There's no repercussion to it.
I know.
If we're sitting here and you say something offensive and mean to me, and we're 13 years old, I can punch you in the face. If we're on a computer, there's nothing that can be done. What are we going to do? Report your profile? I don't even know how that works.
I know.
But there's nothing that, is defending yourself or standing up for yourself. And I don't even need somebody to get hit. But you got to set a boundary.
Yeah.
In life, you have to set boundaries, and that's real tough through a computer.
For sure. Well, you were talking about wrestling and things coming full circle. I have to say, today is Ethan Lipson's birthday.
Oh.
You know, so happy birthday to Ethan. I was talking to him earlier, and he said some really kind things back to me. And one of the things he said was like, "Love you so much, Coach. I wouldn't be, you know, where I am today without you." And I was like, "No, dude, this is all you. I was just there for the ride." But, you know, Ethan, like everyone else in the world, went through struggles, and I was there for him. And that fills my tank. And we got to see Coach Ethan this summer. But we probably wouldn't have seen Coach Ethan if I wasn't there to help him through those tough times, keep him in the sport of wrestling, plant those seeds to give back. So just like we saw Ethan come back and help these young kids, there's going to be a day where you're going to be watching Max, and they're going to be calling him Coach Max, dude. And he's going to be helping. He's going to be helping the young bucks.
You know, with Ethan though, most recently I saw him give Lonnie a hell of a workout at RWC.
I heard.
And it was funny to watch.
Lonnie didn't know what he signed up for.
No, he had no idea, bro. And you have a kid that, you know, you've known, and I said this to you last week, you got all these kids in town that are singing from the highest mountain how great Coach Pete is, right? And you've been so instrumental in not just their wrestling career, but in life. Like, you helped Ethan through whatever he was going through. And here he is. He shows up on a Sunday, helps out. He's Coach Ethan. And it's his way of saying thank you. And it's kind of like a nod to you.
For sure.
Look at Willie Stapleton or JJ Matchnick showing up. They were both there on Sundays, working out, helping the kids. You know, you got young guys, 17 years old, 15 years old. They could be doing anything else.
Yep.
They're not there for me. They might be there to help the kids or get a little bit of a workout, but they're there for you, Pete, because you've impacted them. And I can only hope to have that impact on people.
For sure. That seed was planted by two different individuals. Number one, my mom, being a special ed teacher and helping and giving, bringing me to her classrooms. Whenever I was on like school break and she had school, she would bring me in, and I would see, you know, the special needs kids that were in there, and I always had a blast with them. And the other person is Coach Lonnie Morris up at Johnson and Wales. I mean, while I was there, he told us, pay it forward. pay it forward, pay it forward. And like when you're 19 to 22, 18 to 22, whatever it was, like, what is pay it forward? And he would say, give back to the sport that gave to you. And it was just instilled. So once I was 22 years old, there was no, like, where am I going to go now? What am I going to do? Like, as far as my career, I wasn't sure, but I knew that giving back to kids, that was going to happen. And probably if it didn't happen and he saw that, like a few years, he would have called me out, you know? So I now found my own unique way to make it fun for these older kids to give back. Stapleton had me sign his ROTC form the other day, and I think he only needs like limited hours. And I like times like 3 hours a week. Like he was probably at like 45 classes this year. Like he is overly exceeded like the limit that he needs for the ROTC. And for him, he just loves it. He's probably going to be a coach too when he gets older.
Probably the most dedicated person in that room, just in the sense that he's not able to get up and drive himself there.
I know.
He's there every week, though. I mean, just about. Mm-hmm. Without fail, you're getting Willie's best.
100%.
And he doesn't have to be there.
No.
He could be out fishing. He could be out riding dirt bikes, doing whatever Willie wants.
What is he, 15, 16 years old, bro?
He's got no responsibility to be there.
Yeah.
And he's there. He deserves every hour you could give him.
100%. 100%. It's got a good flow. The Willie Stapleton Wrestling Club. It might have to be our shift up down the road.
Yeah, listen, it might sound good.
Yeah, it's got a good flow to it. Or maybe Stapleton and Reilly.
Who comes first?
I mean, I would say Willie, bro.
Nah,
He's
Reilly
the young
Stapleton.
buck.
Riley Stapleton.
Riley Stapleton.
RSWC.
I like that.
I like it.
I like that.
But speaking of wrestling, I think, to be fair in time, you got to get on the road.
Time to roll.
Yeah, I just didn't want to keep rambling without mentioning that.
For sure, man. Well, it was good chatting with you today, man. It really is a nice venting session for us. We both have 3 kids. We're able to talk out some of these stressors that we're dealing with and hopefully take a little bit of the pressure off ourselves and just know that, you know, there is no perfect parent out there. There is no playbook. You know, we're yelling Omaha at the line left and right. And, you know, from this week to next week, maybe we see another play from another dad or another parent or another video or somebody else putting themselves out there, and we say, oh, you know what? I'm going to try that. Yeah. I'm going to see if that works.
Add it to the repertoire, bro.
That's it.
That's it. And
keep it going.
Guys, we appreciate you watching and sharing with us some of your time. If you want to reach out on social media, we're here. We're always a message away. Please feel free.